Hi there, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in to this special episode of the Be More podcast. I'm Brittany.
I'm Maria. And for everyone that's watching on YouTube right now, we're actually together for the first time since March.
Oh, wait, okay, so Maria's going to open her save the date for our wedding, which is officially in a year from now. And that is why, well, that's not really why, but that's kind of why. We have my fiance Dan on the podcast with us.
Hey, how's it going?
Cool.
We've been alluding to you for the past 7 months. Well, actually, it's been the past, since July when we first recorded the lost episode.
Yes. So initially, the plan was that Dan was going to come on the podcast on my birthday, just like Ashley had come on the podcast for Maria's birthday.
Right.
So we did the whole shebang, and then Brittany's...
Also, me and Ashley are not a thing. So.
Well, but you had somebody for your birthday, and we were like, okay, we'll bring Dan on for my birthday, and then
technicalities.
It was a really good episode from what I remember. It's just that now we're never gonna relive it again. So there's that. So now he's here, and it just happens to be Halloween, best holiday ever.
Yes, happy Halloween!
Yay, happy Halloween! And it also happens to be the 1 year mark of our wedding, because Dan and I are getting married on Halloween of next year.
Yes, and
Halloween 2021.
That's crazy. We'll get into that. We'll get into that later. I think I have to open this save the date.
Yeah, open it.
So, I mean, this isn't a visual podcast for the Spotify viewers, but I mean, head to our YouTube channel.
Maria will give you a full play-by-play detail of what she sees.
It's a white envelope.
Yep, there we go. We're starting off well. It's a white card.
It's a white card on the back, and then in the front, it's like an orange themed. It's very autumnal, is what it is.
I didn't expect you to actually give a play-by-play, but I'm loving this.
Yeah.
So please keep describing.
Well,
autumnal.
No, autumnal.
Close.
Jesus, autonomous sounds like autonomous, and something else put together.
On the bottom.
Autumnal.
Wait, on the bottom left, it says "So in love, it's spooky."
Yep.
I can't.
Hashtag.
I'm leaving now.
Hashtag. That's my little cute thing I had to throw in there.
It's cute. I like it.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Also, your hair is really long hair.
I know. That picture's from 2018.
Oh my god.
I know.
Really?
That was from the fall that we got engaged.
Jeez.
Dan and I have been engaged we'll have been engaged for 3 years by the time we get married. But that's not because of COVID. That's because we chose that.
Yeah.
So it worked out great.
I'm also overweight in that picture. Fun fact.
I
have no further comments because I don't know how to react to that.
I'm just so excited to just sit here and just watch what happens for the next whatever minutes. It's going to be wonderful.
I don't even... Okay.
Dan has never been overweight, but okay.
Now you really haven't.
Now he knows how he feels about himself.
We now know your opinions about that picture.
He is smaller now than he was then.
Was it then?
Yes. Was it then?
Okay. Dan.
Hey.
I know your story already because of the last lost episode, but just tell our viewers, I guess, how you guys met and what was the other thing?
I don't know. We should have probably... Oh, well, we couldn't. I was going to say we should have watched the old ones. So
well, we can't.
We talked about it.
We can't.
I'm sorry.
How you guys met and then how you guys got engaged.
I'm just going to sit here. Have fun, everybody.
Yeah, so how we met is, a whole ordeal. So, so Brittany actually met a bunch of my roommates first because it was at Rutgers. Mm-hmm. And Brittany and my roommates were going from campus to campus because there's a party campus at Rutgers. And we actually did not live on that one.
Yeah, that party campus.
So some of my roommates went out. I think I was probably working because that was generally my life. Mm-hmm. So a couple of my friends went over and they were going to walk because if you've ever been on the Rutgers buses, they're always jam-packed. You got to...
Not recommended. 0 out of 10.
Yeah, you pretty much got to hang outside of them just like you would in New York or something, Mm-hmm. So they ended up walking and then Brittany and some of her friends also were going to the same campus. So Brittany had seen them in front, and knowing Brittany, she's very outgoing. So she, yelled ahead to them, hey, why are you guys leaving us back here alone to walk by ourselves? You guys should be walking with us. So they ended up, getting
safety first, everybody.
So they ended up,
sounds like you though.
Talking and getting to know each other, and they became friends, and they had made plans to go to one of the football games together, and my roommates had alluded that I was gonna join them as well. Mm-hmm. So they were already at the stadium, and I was on another bus that came slightly after. So I had gotten off, and I met Brittany for the first time. And fun fact, my hair was orange at the time.
Very fitting.
So, and I mean, we.
I'm sorry. You can't audibly see an eye roll.
Jesus.
But we didn't really hit it off right away. Obviously, because I had orange hair, probably, and
you didn't say words.
And I didn't say words. I was very antisocial, to say the least, at that point in my life.
And Brittany back then was very not calm.
Very.
You're calmer now.
Cool.
So initially, we just met, and that was that. So yeah, we didn't really, talk. And initially, one of my roommates and some of Brittany's friends were trying to get Brittany and my friend Josh to date.
Interesting.
But yeah, that wasn't, meant to be, obviously.
Clearly.
But then, a couple weeks had gone by, and I finally had shaved all the orange off my head. So I looked like a normal person again. Just with incredibly short hair, because, it had to go. So I had a couple friends up, and, we were going to go to the other campus, and we actually got on the same bus as Brittany and her friends. And, me and my friends were in the back, and Brittany was in the front. And we had seen each other, but I wasn't going to get up and go talk to her, because that was not in my nature.
He smiled at me, though, and he has, a very, even to this day, 10 years later, there's something about when he smiles at me that just,
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's cute.
Sometimes there's, a thing, someone does, and you're just when he smiles at me, it was that.
It was that. And then did you then initiate the conversation?
Then she actually...
Not then.
No. That night we actually didn't even talk.
Okay.
But I think it was, the day or two after she had reached out to me on Facebook.
Facebook
and
for the win.
Yeah. And she was just pretty much oh, hey, way to go, way to not, come say hi to me. And that's pretty much...
sounds like you.
That's pretty much how it started. We ended up talking back and forth, and then, again, we had a plan where a bunch of our friends got together, so I think we were playing basketball or something, so we ended up playing basketball, and then everyone left, and Brittany and I stayed back, and we sat on the swings. And
so did you play basketball? Because Brittany used to play basketball with me when you were growing
up.
We
didn't play basketball. We played soccer in the outdoor hockey rink. Okay. And I'll never forget that night because I fell and I skid on the floor and I put a hole in my favorite pants.
Yeah. Oh.
But then it was a fond memory later because I was like, aw. And then I remember thinking oh, you just embarrassed yoururself. Now he really knows who you are. So.
But you got out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Doing it early.
But then, we stayed and we spent the night on the swing set just talking and getting to know each other more. And really, that's where it all began.
Nice. School. Good old school and Facebook.
Yes, Rutgers and Facebook.
Yeah, now it's school and Instagram or Snapchat. So.
It's true.
Yeah. So, and that was what? That was a long time ago now.
That was, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost 10 years?
Yeah, when we get married next year,
it'll be 10 years.
It'll be 2 weeks short of being together for 10 years.
That's crazy. Time flies.
Oh, it does. I'm going to be 30 next year.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't remember who I was talking to, but they're like, can you believe that we graduated high school 10 years ago almost?
Yeah.
Isn't that gross?
It's disgusting.
Brittany's not. You can't see this. Brittany's just staring at me.
Yeah, we actually had my high school 10-year, reunion a year ago. I mean, I didn't go.
I was gonna say, did you go?
I literally was like, wow, I can't believe I've been out of high school for 10 years. And I looked over at Dan. And I was like, wait a second, that means you've been out of high school for 10 years. I was like, when's your reunion? He's like, it happened already. And I was like, why didn't you say anything? You don't want to go?
Because he didn't want to go. Well, clearly.
I also come from a very a smaller town where all my friends aren't. I have 3 friends really from high school still. So
same.
Same. One of them sitting on the other side of the couch.
I'm still pretty much in contact with those 3 or 4 people. So I get my fill. I know. To be around the people I didn't care too much for.
I was like, you weren't curious because if there's ever a 10-year reunion, there's a cat below me.
Wait, and then Maria really quickly just pulled back. That's the part that made me laugh.
I pulled back my coffee.
He's not gonna want your coffee.
I know, but whatever.
Whatever. Okay, say your 10-year reunion thing.
If we have a 10-year reunion, I'm just curious to know where the other people are in their lives.
That's what I said.
You weren't that curious? Maybe that's a girl thing?
I really wasn't. To be honest, I see them on Facebook. 90% of them have kids.
Yeah.
What are they really doing? not to be like mean or anything, but realistically, like your lives are your kids at that point.
Right. Okay. Well, if there's a 10-year reunion, I'm gonna end up dragging you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
So I'll get a
Well, by that point, everybody will know what's going on in our lives
because of this.
This podcast, man.
Well, I mean, I hope they don't actually listen to this.
I don't care what you do.
Yeah,
sure
whatever.
Some of them do.
I know a couple, but I'm already friends with them, not like my non-friend, like high school friends.
I don't care what you do. That's something. Let me just repeat
That's true
that.
too.
I didn't care then. Still don't care now.
Okay. All right, fair. So then, how did you guys get engaged? Is the next question.
Ooh, this is actually a really good story because my initial engagement plan got shot down for multiple reasons.
Oh God.
So
Not by me. I just like to say that to anybody thinking like, "Wow, she's mean." I didn't do it.
No, it wasn't her at all. So I finally one day was just like, "Yo, I'm gonna do it." So it's funny because Brittany's mom actually like randomly like came like. All right, so we used to live with Brittany's uncle and her cousin. And, obviously Brittany's mom would pop over every once in a while to say hi and check in on them. And it was one of the days where I was home and Brittany wasn't. And her mom had come. So I heard her, like, upstairs. And I was like, oh, like, maybe she'll pop down and say hi. So Brittany's mom came down and knocked on the door and was like, oh, I have, like, a ring for you if you're interested. And I was like, wait, like, how'd you know? Like, I was literally, like, in that, like, mindset. Like, I was thinking about doing it soon. Like, completely random. And I was like, oh, like, like, thanks so much. And, we ended up using the stone out of the ring that her mom had given me.
It was my dad's mother's ring. So my
grandmother's
grandmother's
your grandma's?
ring.
Okay. That's cute.
But obviously then we went and picked out, like, the style of, like, actual, like, the band and
Like
stuff
the
that she
settings
wanted.
and everything.
Yeah.
So her mom was already ahead of the game on me on that one. So I was like, oh, yeah.
It also
like,
helps when you have your daughter being like, when your mother comes to you every like couple of weeks and goes, when did you get engaged yet? I'm waiting for you to call me and tell me you got engaged.
Really?
So like it
well,
helps.
then that's
I mean, it was almost 8 years by then.
Yeah,
yeah,
I can see your
again,
mom
but
doing
it always really just comes down to money and, obviously being able to get a situation to
right.
appropriately do it and be able to do it like what you want to do. But yeah, my initial plan was for us to I was trying to book a hot air balloon ride because Brittany and I used to go to the Quick Check Balloon Festival every summer for years and years. We went like probably like 3 or 4 years in a row at one point. So I was like, but we never actually went up in one. So I was like, that would be really cool. So my initial plan was I actually found a guy. He was willing to do it. I had the appointment set. Like, we were ready to go. So then he was just like, all right, well, like, obviously with hot air balloon rides, there's a couple factors you have to play into effect. Obviously, like the weather.
Right.
So that was like a key thing. So he reaches out to me like a couple of days before and he's like, oh, bad news.
Oh, God.
The weather's not looking good. I'm not going to be able to fly that day. That was one, actually. And there was a second thing that he told me as well. And the second thing was that President Trump was in the area. So great. So he like goes to this golf course, actually right down the street where I used to live in Bedminster.
Yep, that's his golf course.
Yeah, so he has his own like pretty much golf course there. So then so President Trump's in the area, so they made it a no-fly zone.
Right.
So
makes sense.
1, he couldn't fly because of the weather. 2, he couldn't fly because he couldn't fly.
Right.
No fly zone.
That sucks.
So that's literally like like 3 days before. And I like called my grandma and I was like, yo, like this is happening. Like
because he says yo to his grandma.
Obviously. So I explained like the situation to her and because I was panicking. I was just like, that was my plan. I had everything booked. It was ready to go. I had the ring. Everything was ready to go. And it was nice too because Brittany's parents came with me to get her ring done and everything because Brittany's mom knew the jeweler that we went and got it from, which obviously was a big help for many other things as well. But I called my grandma. I'm like, like I don't know what to do now. Like my initial plan just got destroyed.
Literally, yes.
And I just remember she was just like, like no matter what you do, she's gonna be happy. Obviously, you guys are great together, and she's gonna be happy no matter what happens. So. Right. Ended up making me feel like a lot better about the situation because I mean I was
thanks Omi
panicking. I was literally panicking.
Yeah.
So for a backup plan, and I just like randomly came up with this on the spot. I was like, yo, it'd be really cool for us to go back to Rutgers and just like walk around and just like reminisce on like our time there and like remember like things we did and places we were. So I like kind of like mapped out this whole tour where we kind of walked through the campus that we stayed on our first year. And I was like, oh, remember when we did that there? And but of course, like her being her, she was like trying to like wreck my plans as soon as we get there. She's like, oh, why do you have a backpack? Oh, can we go see the swings?
Because you just want to know everything.
Of course. And my plan was the swings was the last stop because that was the place we had our first date. So that's where I was going to propose to her.
Right.
And
cute. Very cute.
I had some of our friends come and take pictures and everything. They were like hiding, there.
Yeah.
But they weren't there yet. So like I had to get her away from there.
Right.
So that they could set up and, be ready. But of course she's just like, why do you have a backpack? Is there food? Like very typical Brittany questions.
Very,
right?
yes.
And, like, can we just go to the swings right away? Because, obviously she wanted to go to the swings to be on the swings.
I just stayed there.
Guys, I like swings. Swings are like my pastime.
So anyway, I'm like, I end up like, don't worry, we'll go to the swings. Like, let's do this first.
Right.
So I ended up, getting her to, navigate the course I wanted her to. And then I think halfway through, she was just like, all right, well, I'm hungry. And I was like, oh, no worries. I got snacks. So we were covered on that.
He knows me so well.
So we were covered on that. So then, we get to the swings finally at the end. And then obviously, I dropped down on a knee, pulled out the ring out of my backpack.
Brittany, did you cry?
And,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I don't remember. That was a long time ago now.
Yeah, she cried. Yeah,
okay.
Well.
I cried. You're welcome.
But yeah, that's how we ended up getting engaged. It was a whole ordeal, but
yeah, it was full circle though.
Yeah, exactly. It was very full circle.
That's cute. And she cried, so good job, Dan.
Yeah. And then we got pictures and everything too, so well documented.
Nice. Okay, so 1 year till your wedding.
1 year.
Correct.
To the date, 1 year.
What have you done so far?
So
what have you done so far?
Yeah,
I said to both of you, not just Dan. Not just Dan. Jesus.
So I mean, for the longest time, we didn't do anything, to be honest. Completely transparent.
Yep.
We were like, oh, we got plenty of time. Don't worry about it.
And we had to be in a lot of weddings in the last couple months, and it was just a lot.
But over the last, I guess, month, really, we've really started to pull some things together. We have the DJ.
Nice.
We got a venue last year.
Yeah. Venue was the first thing on our list, obviously.
Yeah. To get that date down.
Where you're gonna get married, and when you can get married, and the vendors that are accessible there.
Right.
So obviously, that was the thing we did first, and we did that a while ago now.
Yeah, like a year.
At least a year ago.
A half ago, I think.
Because another thing too is, the further you can book it out, the more money you can save. Because
their prices go up every year.
Yeah.
That's another reason why we did 3 years in advance, because then we got an extra year to save money, and we got 2019 prices for a 2021 wedding.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So again, if you're gonna get married, get on your venue right away.
Right.
Definitely advice.
Does it help that it's on a holiday? On Halloween.
Oh, yeah. It's on a Sunday. That's another thing.
Oh,
that was how I got it to be on Halloween, because Dan doesn't like Halloween.
I do not.
Now you'll have a reason to like it, though.
See? Maria gets it. Thank you, Maria. That's what I said. I said, who cares if it's Halloween? It'll be your wedding anniversary. Said. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it being on a Sunday helps. That makes it cheaper. And then being on a holiday on a Sunday makes it even cheaper, because not a lot of people want to do that.
Right.
So it makes it more of a challenge for them, so they're willing to adjust the prices even lower.
Gotcha.
To kind of fill a spot that they probably wouldn't be able to fill.
Right. Yeah.
Regardless.
And it's not, the thing is too, we were like, we don't want it to be, it's different when it's on Labor Day, or a weekend when you know that people aren't going to be around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or a holiday that people do, people, I get it, people do stuff on Thanksgiving. I mean, sorry, on Halloween, I'm not taking away from that.
They do stuff on Thanksgiving, correct?
If you have children, right? If you have kids, you do stuff with your kids, but a lot of things now, kids don't go out trick-or-treating the way that we used to.
No,
they
the
go
way
to,
that we
trunk or treats during the week, or stuff like that.
I think that's so. Can I just interrupt? It was not even when was this? Last week? A family was out trick-or-treating. I was like, it's not even close to the 31st. Let's not do this.
So people don't the traditions that we set on Halloween are not the same. It's all up in the air. So we were like, adults like to go to parties and festivities anyway. So now you have
just
something to go to.
Yeah, make it an organized thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Speaking of Halloween, is Mischief Night still a thing around here?
I haven't seen anything related to Mischief Night since I was in college, and that was because I was responsible for it.
Right. Wasn't it such a big thing when you were growing up? Or trying to be a big thing growing up?
Yeah, I remember always seeing like houses in
I
the
remember
neighborhood.
everybody talking about going out, but then I don't remember. I feel like I probably TP'd something once. I don't.
I mean,
remember,
I you know me, I never went out.
I know.
So
I egged something.
I'm sure you did. You egged a car.
Which is terrible because you
Right?
destroy their paint.
No, I remember egging a house.
It was a house. When was this?
I don't know. I have like a vast like.
Or did you key a car?
No, that was a totally separate. That was a totally separate. Nothing to do with Mischief Night. That was me being
pulled back. I was like, I don't know if you want this.
That was me being a variable in karma's equation for
someone.
A-hole.
Yes. Yes. That's not Mischief Night.
That was not Mischief Night.
I remember, I participated in Mischief Night in college because one of our soccer coaches lived in the town that we had the school in. Yeah. So we're like, we can definitely go like mess with him.
That's easy.
So, we like saran wrapped and toilet papered his car and, nothing like damaging, but just, stuff to be annoying. You know what I mean?
Right.
We weren't like egging stuff or like.
Don't look at me when you say. You just looked at me with disdain.
Causing value of damage. It was just like, oh man, now I gotta like pull all this saran wrap off my car so I can get into it.
Right, which is not. It's just a bothersome thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And the first thing
and he knew it was us. So,
yeah.
I mean, like he was like, you guys suck, and we're like, yeah, we know. That's why we annoy you all the time.
Because I think Mischief Night is only a Jersey thing.
Really?
Yes, I believe so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Somewhere on the internet, I think it was Twitter, they're like, someone tweeted asking about Mischief Night, and then like the retweets or comments below was like, I think that's just a Jersey thing.
That wouldn't surprise me.
We do all the other bad stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised one bit.
No, not at all. Let's see.
I don't remember what else you asked us about. Maria's like real hard, like interviewing
she asked
Dan
us
right
about
now.
What else? Yeah, what else did you have done?
Yeah, so obviously the venue. We just got the DJ. We have the photographer. Brittany's currently working on the florist. We did the tasting literally, what was that, 2 days ago? 3 days ago?
It looked delicious.
I
saw it on their Instagram stories.
It was amazing. If you are lucky enough to come to our wedding,
whoever's listening and is invited, you're gonna eat.
We'll share a Zoom link for the podcast.
You are gonna leave in a wheelbarrow or a food coma.
Yeah, both.
In a wheelbarrow because you're in a food coma.
But that's just because that's who we are as people. We are big food people.
I forgot to get you guys, because usually whenever this is, I don't know if it's Filipino tradition or just tradition in general, if I go to a person's like new place, I'm supposed to give you guys gifts. I completely forgot to get you guys. Remember when I was talking to you about like the banana sauce, but the spicy one? I forgot to get you guys food.
That's fine. That's not. That might not be like my mother makes me do it. Like my mother says it's an Italian thing too. It just might be like a tradition, like
traditional,
like a traditional. It's fine.
Overseas thing.
You're
Next time.
here. That's our gift.
I know. I haven't seen you guys like in person since like March.
Yeah.
Right. Like hung out. I've seen you sporadically, but
for
like 2 minutes at a time.
I also saw you that one day you pulled in our driveway to drop off the flash drive.
Yes.
That was like somewhere in the middle of everything.
Yeah, that was forever ago because
that was still probably early March or
man,
crazy. Didn't you say something last episode that you had questions from other people?
Oh, you want to know what? This is a good point. So,
because I just ran out of questions.
We were at a okay, this is something we can all talk about, but we were at a wedding a couple of weekends ago, and there was like a young couple that we were with, and the girl, they've been together like a year. Okay. Which was like Dan and I being together as long as we have. And she was like surprised when we said we've been together as long as we had. So like she had asked me, what's your secret? Like we get that question a lot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And because we're still young and like this is a long like term relationship. I feel life
is long, guys.
No, I feel like
life is long and life is short, but life is long in a relationship.
Right. Sure. I don't know.
I don't mean that a bad thing. Like it's like life is short and goes by fast, but like you're choosing to like when you're in a relationship, you're choosing to spend every day with them. So like it's what I mean? Like it's not like it's like
I get your sentiment. I can't.
The heaviness
I can't
of it,
really verbalize it.
There's heaviness to it. So like you want to.
Right. I think I meant like, or my whole thing was like, people our age still don't have that long 10-year relationship, so they're probably just like, how do you do it? Like,
Yeah.
So
I gave her an answer, but I want to know what Dan has to say first.
Like, that's so messed up.
Put me on the spot. You already have an answer. Now I have to come up with one. Okay, great.
Well, do you want? I don't know.
No, I'll go first.
I don't know. It's not because I'm like
Jesus.
testing him. It's just because I don't want what I say to influence, his answer. Like, I really want to know what he thinks.
No,
Because whatever he thinks is like it's he's probably right. He's going to be right. It's
'Cause
obviously it's
it's
working. So
Right, correct.
go ahead.
So yeah, tee me up. So really, with relationships, especially when you're long term, obviously there's a lot of give and take, and it's really about understanding that you give up a lot of control in a sense where you not. I don't mean it negatively.
You.
I just in the sense of
She's
like
getting really nervous, I think.
Or like
just in the sense of like you're not always going to be in control of how everything goes, and that's something that obviously we're both very willing to give up control in certain situations, and obviously just feed off each other when it comes to what we want to do, and obviously support's a huge thing because again at the end of the day we're individuals, and we each have different things that we want to do, and certain things that each one of us likes that maybe the other person doesn't, and that's really where like the sacrifice and the willingness to give up control of situations comes in because I'm huge into football, right? I love watching football.
Yeah.
Brittany's not really like into football. She doesn't really like it, but
Do you like
she'll
baseball?
I don't want no. I don't.
Do you like sports?
I do like sports, but he watched it for entertainment, and I watch it from more of a like
Competitive nature?
no, but from like I try to break down the movements and like I watch the injuries.
All right, pass.
And,
Next.
Yeah, I watch it as like a nerd. I'm a nerd watching football. I don't watch it because I enjoy like I like the thought process behind it, and I like analyzing the movements and the injuries. Okay, I'm done now.
So it goes both ways, right? So there's some Sundays when we don't really have too much planned, so she'll give me the freedom to watch it all day. Now there's some Sundays where she wants to do something, and I'll be like, all right, well, like I want to watch football, but it's all right. Let's go do what you want to do. So
Now
there's a lot
it is now like that.
So like situations like that, like there's give and take, right? Like you're not always gonna get your way, and the other person isn't always gonna get their way as well. Because then, what's the point of being in a relationship if you're just gonna be, no, it's always my way? That's not how a relationship works.
Any sort of relationship.
And then same thing goes with like things around the house, right? Nobody likes to vacuum, no one likes to do laundry, but it has to get done. So it's not fair for one person to do it. So we both kind of break it down. Brittany do laundry, I'll do the vacuuming, I'll do the cat litter.
Right.
Both of us cook and clean different nights of the week. But it really comes down to just working as a team to get what needs to get done without obviously putting the other person in a position where they feel like they're doing too much, or they are the ones that's like, I'm always doing this, and that's not fair.
You're right.
So it really just comes to working as a team, and again, just understanding that at the end of the day, like the biggest thing is that we love each other and we want to be around each other. So you kind of have to give into the situation sometimes to make the other person happy. Even sometimes if it's not something you want to do, you gotta sometimes suck it up and be like, I want to do it for the other person.
Right. A lot of self-sacrifices. Brittany is...
I feel like our perspectives on this are going to say a lot. My brain is processed. This is the hard... Okay, this is something that I have to get better at. This has nothing to do with the answer to the question, but just for my own like sanity, I have a tendency, especially with like Dan, when Dan says stuff, I always like psychoanalyze like what he's saying about me and what he's saying, and it's not about me at all. So like, and that's how like I used to start fights between us, because he would say something and then I would take it personally, and literally it's not about like anything about me, but
you just overanalyze everything.
Yeah, that's hello, welcome to my brain.
Welcome to this podcast. I'm glad you're here.
So the first thing I said, and the first thing I say to anybody who's in a relationship, and the thing that kind of like it makes me sad, there is no secret. Like, and I think that goes back to things that we've talked about, Maria, where like we say how like there is no one simple thing, there's no quick fix, there's no instant gratification for something that's so long term, like that's really a process. Like a relationship isn't an end result. Like it's not like, hey, we're in a relationship. It's like something you have to constantly work at.
Yeah. Agreed.
But I did say that, like, so I said that to her. I was like, I don't think there is a secret. I don't think there's one simple thing. But if I would say that there's one thing that Dan and I have worked the most on and have been like the most consistent with, and it's something that I think matters in relationships, it's communication.
Oh, for sure. With any relationship, with anything.
Any
life.
like any relationship, whether it's like like a spouse, a partner, a friend, whatever, like communication is really important.
Agreed.
And so I definitely like emphasize that, and like understanding that modes of communication are different, and like love languages are different, and like the way we deal with stuff is different, and just being like empathetic to that and understanding of that.
Do you guys have the same love language? Do you guys know about, like...
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I mean, you haven't...
Or has
really...
it grown? Has it been, like, it grows throughout the year or whatever? It's not a constant, like, thing, right? Throughout your life?
So, I don't know if... Well, did you...
All right, so I've never read the book,
Yeah.
but I would just based on,
Right.
like, what I've heard from
What
it.
he knows about himself?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
like, I definitely need, like, words of affirmation, and
Yeah.
I'm definitely, like, I'm very touchy-feely,
Mhm.
so, like, that would be, like, mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm definitely touchy-feely. Like, you know that. Like,
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
me.
Uh-huh.
I'm words, but I also, like, action... Like, acts of service.
Acts of service.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, those are definitely my 3 biggest things. What about you? Do you know what yours are?
Yeah, I took it recently. It's quality time, words of affirmation, and then the third one is actually like the physical touch or whatever.
What?
I don't like gifts, receiving gifts, because that's the other one, right?
I don't know.
It's
Yeah,
like
I
gift
think so.
giving
Yeah,
or
I
gift
think, yeah.
receiving.
Yeah.
Don't ever get me a gift, because I just feel like I don't
You feel
like
you don't know
need
what to do with
that.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That I
for
also
sure.
don't need it, right? But yeah, I think growing up, it would not be the third one. Would not be the third one. It would be the
So
very
funny
bottom
that
one.
she's physical touch. That's so funny.
But I think, I mean, when you grow up and figure your shit out, I think it just changes with you.
Yeah,
And especially,
totally.
like, it depends on the people around you, too. If your, like, significant other is, like, a physical touch person, whatever the hell it's called, you kind of just, like,
You
mold
attach
into
to
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's
For sure.
that usually, yeah.
Yeah. But that's another thing too that, like I said, I was like, you know, Dan and I got together during the most complicated time of our lives. We were like the early 20, like 18, 19, 20.
God, yeah.
And we really grew up together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had to figure our own shit out. We had to like, and that I think our relationship wasn't as strong. Like that was, I think, a pivotal moment for us when we both really started to work on ourselves and figure our own stuff out and like develop ourselves and try to make ourselves better. And then everything in the relationship was able to elevate. We were able to communicate better. We
Right.
were able to be understanding of like the give and take complex and all of that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was what and the thing, I don't know, that's the thing, I almost felt bad because I expected her to, I think that she expected me to give her
Like a one
super
like
specific answer.
all in one like
And it's
solution to everything.
complicated.
I
Like,
think
Yeah.
I think it's complicated because there's no answer to it's your answer. It doesn't apply to anyone else.
yeah, and
That's the
everybody's
thing.
relationship is different. But I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like it's very solid to say, like, if you don't work on yourself, you're going to end up running into issues and you're going to take it out on the other person, period.
Yeah.
If you don't communicate well, you're going to run into issues and you're going to take it out on the other person, period.
Correct.
If you don't know each other well enough to understand, like, what that person,
Wants and needs,
right,
Yeah.
like,
as opposed to your wants and needs.
right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
like, you're going to run into issues, you're going to take it
Yeah.
out on each other, it's not going to go, like, it's very, like, that's the, you really have to be, we talk about this all the time in this podcast,
Yeah.
Maria, but it's so much about awareness.
And a lot of people aren't that self-aware yet.
No, and not in a negative and toxic way. And I say this because, like, that's
Right.
me. Like, I would
Right.
get so overly concerned with, like, him and, like, what he was thinking. And which is
Because
so
we're
bad.
but like
because-
we're empaths,
I know,
though,
but
right?
he's so not like that. So, like, if I get in
Oh,
his
yeah.
brain and I want to know what's in his brain, he's, like, super shut down, don't talk about, like, that's how he used to
Yeah.
be. He's not like that really now. He talks
That's
more.
good.
He still
Yeah,
does
I mean,
it, but
that's
not.
another thing too is like relationships aren't like a magical thing that just turns on. Like we have our good days and our bad days still. Like it's
Yeah, of
not
course.
it's not always perfect, but a lot of it came from where we are now versus where we were. It was just like growing up, right?
Yeah.
Because like she was about to get into, like I would just shut down. Like anytime we would be like not in agreement with each other or like I felt some type of way,
Yeah.
I would just shut down.
You'd be
you
like,
know?
forget it. I don't want to talk
Yeah,
about
exactly.
it.
She'd
Yeah.
try to pry it out of me.
And I'm like, we have to get through it. I want to get to the other side.
I know.
Let's go,
I know.
let's go,
Yep.
let's go.
Yep.
And then a lot of it from like my perspective was like, all right, well, I don't want to say the wrong thing in the wrong moment because I'm
Yeah.
already like clearly agitated. So if I really get into it, I'm probably gonna say some things I don't mean.
Right.
But then I was learning like, because again, like I've definitely changed a lot
Yeah.
over the 10 years that we've been together.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah,
A lot
for
of
sure. No,
people
definitely.
sometimes just stay stagnant, and that's when that
So
gets
now-
sour.
Yeah. So
And if
now,
you want to know more about that, watch our previous episode.
So now that I'm like more confident in like being able to communicate how I'm feeling and just knowing that she's gonna accept it and like not take it for face value, because again, a lot of times when you're in that moment, sometimes things come out that you don't really mean. So just being more self-aware of like, it's alright to say it, and then we'll talk about it.
Also, people don't apologize enough.
Yeah, apologize for stuff.
Apologize for stuff.
Just apologize for stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
And like figure out
what went wrong though.
We don't we don't really. I can only think of like one time we like actually blow out fought, and I was like screaming at you. We don't really fight. And like things that we've gotten really good at making things that like are pet peeves for either one of us. We've gotten really good at like making them into jokes and like just like
I think that's a good that's that's a good sign of a good relationship.
Like we did it like 12 times last night, and I'm not gonna be able to think of anything. But like things we like it usually some days it depends. Like you can tell if the other person's not in the mood.
Then you kind of just stop and leave it there.
Leave it there, and it's fine. But like when we're in the kitchen, or like if we get in each other's way in the kitchen when we're cooking dinner, like we literally just start like pushing into each other, and then it becomes like a game, and it becomes something funny, and then we laugh, and then we get over it.
Right.
And Dan usually ends up picking me up and putting me over his shoulder, and I usually just smack him until he puts me down. But like we make it playful, like the stuff that doesn't have to be or like there'll be days when I'll get in his way and he'll get annoyed, and he's in a bad, like he's not mad at me, he's just in a not a good mood, so he needs that space.
People also need to understand that their friends or their significant others, whenever they're mad, they're not mad at you, right? Because sometimes there's a blurred thing with people that gets into their head.
That was my hard time. Like that was
because we're empaths, right? Again, I
hate to sound like it's not like a narcissistic thing, but in my mind, if I'm with somebody, I'm about them. Like the way I think is about them, and like that's how I think, right? So like if I'm around you and I'm mad at you. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't want if I'm mad at somebody else, I don't necessarily bring it to other people. You know what I mean? Like I'm very good at like being.
But other people that are not us are actually mad at other things and not us.
So like Dan carries his anger with stuff, and carries when he's upset. So like if he's upset and he like is home and like, he shuts down, and then me being me like doesn't realize it. But like that's the thing. Like I learned to start sensing it. Like you really have to have awareness of something, like and know the other person, and it takes so much. It really does take so much work, but
it's very draining sometimes.
Yeah.
And again, it's not because of that person; it's because of whatever's happening within
and that's why
yourself.
It's super important to have like your own space and time
to have your own self,
right?
Because when people get into relationships too, sometimes, especially like when we were younger, like it would just be like they would be conjoined twins. Like all of a sudden they're like one person, and you're not that.
And like that's the thing too. Like this is weird to say when you're sitting next to me, but like I've been in like I don't even want to say relationships. I'm gonna put it in air quotes, like what I thought were relationships, and they really weren't. It was just I was like this is I don't want this to sound mean, but like I was just entertaining myself with like someone else's company.
Oh yeah,
like it wasn't necessarily the fact that I wanted to be in a relationship, but like it was just purely out of entertainment and hormones, and like
you're giving me attention, thank you,
right? Like it was that, and it took a long time. It first took me doing a lot of work on myself to realize that, and like looking back at like things of the past. But once you get to a certain point, you start to realize like, oh, like no, you're the only, like no one else can smile at me and like give me the butterflies that he gives me. You know what I mean?
That's cute. Yes.
Like it's you have to really know that, and like you have to be able to do the work to reap that benefit.
Correct. Agreed.
Yeah.
Relationships.
So the secret is there's no secret.
Yeah.
The secret also Dan said was basically just communication.
Yeah, communication's definitely key.
And just like the give and take.
Yeah.
So take it as you, as whoever asked that. Do they listen to this podcast?
Or like, I don't know. Or anybody else who has questions. Like, and if you're young and you're like, oh, I want to be in a relationship, like it is possible. Like we were young when we got in a relationship, but like
it's all like don't force something.
You have the rest of your life. Like
yeah.
There had like early on in our relationship, this is how I was in relationships. Once I'd get bored or like worried that something was wrong, I'd be like, all right, bye. Yeah. So like I had those moments, but at the end of the day, there was always something that told me like
stick it out.
Really in a weird sixth sense kind of thing. Like
no,
you see
like, dead people.
This is like that. I see Dan. That's what I used to, that's what my sixth sense was. Like there was something that told me like no, like this is don't do that. Don't mess this one up.
Okay.
You know?
So then wait for that person, I guess, right? Would be another advice.
You might not get that, like, and you
Don't
might
be-
have to be that person first. You know, like, it's
Yes,
so-
that too. Agreed.
There's no easy answer. Sorry, guys, I can't give you like the bottom of a Snapple cap on relationships right now.
I don't think that's even possible.
No, but yeah, again, you really have to be yourself first.
Yeah.
And you have to like have a clear understanding of like what you're looking for, what you need, and find that person that makes sense with you, that they constantly are able to build you up instead of put you down. Because at the end of the day, too, like I personally was in a relationship that it always put me down. So then you just kind of come back because you're like, I don't know any better. And then you feel good for a while, and then you back down again.
Right.
So if you're in a situation like that, it ain't it. Like
It ain't it, guys.
like you got to find something that like actually makes you happy, and once you like that, putting in the work doesn't feel like putting in the work. Like,
Gotcha.
You actually want to do it.
Brittany's nodding her head.
I made such a good choice, guys.
Yeah. You both did. Clearly, right?
Yeah.
10 years. Almost.
10 years of wedding coming.
That's crazy. Anything else?
Clapping for
I
us.
I literally can't think of anything else.
I don't know. What else did we talk about in the last one?
Yeah.
You know what Maria asked you?
What I asked?
What have I changed at all? That was
What
something
have
you
I
asked.
changed at all?
No,
Is
no.
that's a question?
No, because you asked.
What?
Maria was like, "Has Brittany changed since you first met her?" And then you were like, "What's changed about her?"
The way that you put that was not English, by the
Sorry.
way.
If it makes it like the translator from my brain to my mouth sometimes malfunctions, guys. I'm sorry.
No, that's a good question though, because again, we're going in a relationship 10 years, so obviously the person that she was at 18 when I met her.
Oh, 18-year-old Brittany.
Which is like,
18-year-old Brittany.
if that was a book and it would say like hazard do not open.
Versus
18,
where she is
freshman,
now.
sophomore.
Freshman.
She was a freshman. She was a freshman at Rutgers, and I was a junior because I transferred in from community.
Maria,
college.
wait, stop. I want to hear Maria's take on this first.
18-year-old Brittany, freshman year. Well, then again, this was the point where I completely,
Yeah, that
literally,
was, like,
completely just.
literally, you guys, Maria, like my chapters on Maria stopped, and like chapters on Dan started.
Yeah, I always heard about Maria, but I didn't meet you until really.
And like, it's funny because like I went to the same school as you guys, like, so I could have met up. But Brittany, after graduating high school, was not Brittany. So I'll just that's the end of that. That's all I wanted to really say, honestly.
Yeah. So I mean, really looking back at who she was at 18. So I mean, obviously she was still figuring herself out a lot, and she went through a lot of changes through our relationship as far as really growing up more and becoming the woman she is now. Because
Still don't like hearing. It just makes me seem
Old?
like I don't like. It's great when someone says that you're a man, but someone says you're a woman. I'm like,
What do you want to be called? A girl?
I don't know. Not a girl. That's creepy. I don't know. Just don't call me ma'am. That's the only thing.
Yeah, obviously.
I guess we can go with woman.
You're
It's
not
fine.
you're not ma'am age yet.
Yeah, no.
Thank you. You'll be grandpa age by then.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
stop.
Facts. But no, obviously, like she was way more rambunctious, I would say.
I'm not gonna get mad at him. I'm gonna hear the things that come out of his mouth in the next 5 minutes.
Obviously, again, like when you're in college, your focus is a little different than where you are as an adult.
Correct.
But even though, like, she always was focused on like what she wanted to do, even back then. So obviously, dance was super important to her. So anything that was correlated around her dance program and stuff like that, she was always on top of. School, same deal. Always, and we were actually fortunate. I think we had one class. We didn't take it together, but we had it like block after each other.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It was like an English class, so we got to like do that together a little bit, which was nice.
I'm remembering.
That was like the only class.
I remember our early relationship really well. Like
Okay.
everything, but like then there's like a
block.
But that's what trauma does to you. So
I'm saying, well, there's
not because of him, just because of life.
right. No, that's just trauma.
Yeah, but I mean, really, it's just where she was then versus where she is now. Like she obviously still has that focus and that drive. It's just it's not focused on school. It's in the businesses we have now. So obviously she's really gone a long way in growing herself as a professional because now she's constantly had to build her people skills to where she's bringing in clients like nobody's business. Right?
Well,
Like she's
honestly,
she has like
I feel you're just always working.
she just has that drawl to where she knows who she is now, and she's just kind of she knows what she wants, and she's been able to really just develop as a professional. And the thing she does is like it just amazes me, like how you know, again, it's not.
It does.
It's not
Yeah,
to say like I doubted
me
her.
cry.
I doubted her. You know.
Did you cry last time too?
I don't know, but don't make me cry.
But you know, it's not that I ever doubted like her abilities and what she was gonna do. It's just, you know, when you're that age, like 18, 19, 20, like you don't know anything yet, right? You don't know what the real world
I still don't know
is
anything
actually.
That's a
what
lie.
it actually is gonna bring and what you're gonna do. So like, you know, her focus back then was just dancing, getting through school, and now that she's, you know, in the real world, and you know, she didn't take the traditional path of, you know, finding a job and like just working for somebody else. She really, you know, just went out there and paved the path for herself to where she's, you know, just a badass business lady now, and she's just making it happen.
I like lady. I can go with lady.
And she's, you know, she's just doing her own thing, and it's it really was inspirational for me because, like, you know, I didn't take that path. I was always working a job, and that was the only option I thought I had.
Right.
So the fact that, you know, I was able to reflect on, like, well, she was able to do it. I'm really close with her, so she can help me do whatever I want to do. That's really what, you know, also made me like take the leap of like, all right, well, I need a business too, because, you know, why am I going to work a job the rest of my life?
Right, when you can work for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And be happy about it.
Just the, you know, the self-development, and again, we're going to come back to self-development because that's really what it's been about. Is she's really grown up in the sense of, you know, I really want this in my life, and I'm going to go out there and make it happen. So she's really, you know, spent countless hours in libraries and just working on herself to be who she is now, which is, you know, a constant inspiration for me to feed off of, which is, you know, super nice.
Brittany's making a heart.
Even like sometimes when I get home from work and I'm drained and I don't do anything, like she's on a call and she's doing this, and I'm like, damn, like, wow. Like, I can
Hustle.
do that.
Which is so funny because I feel the opposite.
Really?
Like, I feel like I'm never doing enough, which is like an issue I always have.
That's
and that's
also
why I run into like burnout things. But that's so weird to hear you say. So pretty much we're just recording this episode again because I clearly did not feel as uncomfortable as I should have the first time, because now I feel all the types of uncomfortable.
Because again, like I was saying, this is how I felt when Ashley was on the podcast, which is why I kind of just took over that episode anyway, because I was like, I don't want anyone talking about me, so I'm just gonna talk.
Yeah.
So, anyways, go on.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, she's still definitely like, you know, the same person, and, you know, as far as like her heart goes, she's always been like super giving and loving and affectionate, and you know, that never changes.
It's the
like
hustle.
I said, it's just really her. I know what I want from life. I'm gonna make it happen. That's just been like her biggest, you know, upswing on like who she's become, and like I said, every day it's just like I see her on like Instagram doing this, and I come home and she's like on these calls, and she's like, oh, I just met this person and they want me to do this for them, and I'm like, how do you do this? Like, it's amazing.
I
like,
know.
I want to be able to do that.
Brittany seems like she's disagreeing.
No, I just, it's just, I have always been in a constant state of feeling like I never do enough. That's like my own overachieverness.
That's your overachiever, perfectionist, type A
it's so,
self.
I like, even with all the work that I've done, like I still never like.
Do you want to expand on that? Yeah, go
you
ahead.
like never feel good enough, or like you're doing enough, and like so thanks.
Yeah, I think for you, I don't think you take the step back and look at what you do, though. I think that's never been the thing for you. And I can say the same thing for me.
Yeah.
I feel like until someone says something, I'm like, oh, you're right, I'm doing stuff. Like, you're right. But I think you really just need to take a step back and just pull back and be like, oh, I'm doing a shit ton of things with my life.
Yeah, like
You don't cry.
I'm so.
And it's funny too, because she's saying that she doesn't do enough, and then like
She does a lot. I don't know what she's talking about.
she'll like show me her calendar. I'm like, how do you do all this in a day? Like, what
Right.
are you talking about?
And she's still not doing enough.
And then and then she still has time to like relax a little bit at the end of the night. It's just like, what? Like, how did you even do all that today? Like,
I understand why turtles have shells now.
see, this is now the episode that you're uncomfortable. So,
I'm just gonna cross every possible thing I can right now. Okay.
But no, you're doing a lot. I don't know why you think you're not doing enough. You're doing too much, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I would actually be curious to hear the opposite of that. Like, how have I?
Yeah. That was my next question.
Let's go. Well, we're gonna be here forever, guys. So, Dan is
we need a synopsis, Sparks Notes, episode
okay, so
or
I'm
whatever.
gonna go over this very quickly, but just from like the stuff that we've talked about, on the inside, Dan is the same person, but now that aligns more with like who you are on the outside, like who he actually lets people see.
Gotcha.
So when we were first together, I think that's probably something that I really liked about him. Like, I was always, at least it intrigued me, you know, being a like a teenager in the beginning. Like I was always very open with who I am. Everybody knew what I was thinking right away. Like I was like the 5-point like throwing star, and Dan was like this little tiny cocoon. And so like that's just like that. I don't know how else to, and that's just how he was. And I think that the fact that he was so closed off made him mysterious to me, and I wanted to learn more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I did enjoy like it got to a point where we got really close together, and I knew a lot about him, and I knew how he was, and other people just didn't know that and didn't understand it. Okay. So like I felt like I had like this special access to, like, you know what I mean? Like you feel like hey, like I'm I guess that's like a good like I'm good enough to know, like to know. You know what I mean?
Especially for someone that I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's like
he trusts me.
This person who doesn't really trust people trusts me.
Right.
Fully. So that's like a plus
which
in my
ended up
book.
being an issue in the future, because then when I wanted to know more, then I felt like I wasn't good enough anymore. But like that wasn't a him thing, that was a me thing. You know what I mean?
That's usually how that ends up
you know what
in
I mean?
my situation.
Anyway, but yeah, so he was very quiet. He never ever would have done this.
No.
Ever would have done this. Never. He kept a lot of things in his head.
Yeah.
And like
it just wasn't outward.
Yeah, he was total stark opposite of me. But and I think that he didn't have like a confidence in himself to, or
the tools to just like
right, and like knowing how to do it well, and like, you know, it's very interesting because we do have a lot of the same things. We like a lot of the same things in terms of like music and movies, and
which helps,
and foods and stuff, which is good because then we don't run into as many issues because we can do that. But like we share a lot of the same like mental like headspace stuff. Yeah. And he always dealt with it in a different way than I did. So it made me learn a lot. But that's been, I think, like the biggest change is that I've seen him like light his own spark and like build that fire and like be willing to share it with people now. So like that's been like, I think that's just something I've enjoyed. Like it's
fulfilling for you.
Yeah. Nothing is as like as wonderful as like sitting back and like watching somebody that you love. Yeah. Like just be happy and confident in themselves. Right. And, like, you get to sit there and be like, yeah, and like, you know, like
cheer them on. Yeah, it's like a cheerleader.
But that's like the biggest thing that I would say has changed is that.
I don't know why I said cheerleader. I just remember that you were a cheerleader in middle school. I don't know why.
It lasted for one season. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't know why I said cheerleader. I was like, and then my brain just went.
I don't want to talk about it. Things we regret from our
childhood. Did you know that? Did you know that, Dan?
No, I don't.
Well, now you know. She was a cheerleader for one season during middle school.
It was I have no words. And now I'm just your personal cheerleader.
How cute.
But yeah, that's the biggest, like, nothing else he just talks to me. Like, well, he always talked to me. He talks more. And I think it's funny because we were in the car going to the venue, and I drove with my parents, and he drove up there with his grandmother and mom in the car. And it's funny. I don't know what made it happen, but I'll like never forget this. It'll always be in my brain. My dad like made a comment of like, Dan, like, yeah, Dan's totally changed. Like, he's a completely different person. And he's like, and I'm so happy, like, he talks to us and like, we love him. Like, there's like a really cute, like,
yeah, and your parents do like talking.
Dan's changed so much.
Yes.
Like, in the past 10 years, like, night and day. Yeah. And like, and not to say like it was bad, like not to say anything like of his past or who he was bad. It's just that
you just grew into yourself.
He didn't give that to people a lot. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And now people get to see it, and like it's so nice to see that.
Yeah, and to hear it from other people that they see it too.
What used to make me angry, and I used to say this to him too, is like people would say stuff to me and be like, I don't understand why you're with that guy.
Stop, really?
No, yeah.
That, you know, people are fucked up.
Like and for like multiple reasons, and like that nothing makes me more angry than you doing that. You know? Like if you say something negative, like I'm gonna like rub it in your face more.
Right.
So I'd be like, and that's one thing that I'm very glad that like I never let anybody get to me with, because I always saw it and they didn't, and that's fine. But like now it's so funny because people like see him, and they're like, he's such an awesome guy, like, you know what I mean?
Right. And I just don't know why people are inclined to say that in the first place.
They're jerks and they're jealous, and we're done with that. Part of it.
I guess so. I guess
yeah. So yeah, that's definitely like the changes that I've seen in him. Yeah.
Great.
And he's got like a beard and glasses and like there's like physical changes too, but yeah,
Wow.
it's really, we watch each other grow up.
Yeah, it was a pivotal moment in both of your lives. I mean,
Yeah.
19 to 21 or whatever, that's like the beginning of adulthood.
You're still trying to figure everything out.
Literally everything. Like, and it's funny because like in high school you think you know everything, and then you get to college, you're like, I don't know shit.
And then you graduate college and you're like, oh crap,
Oh,
I really don't know anything.
I still don't know
I
anything.
have a degree and I don't know anything.
I feel like because you go from like that, by the time you're getting ready to graduate high school, you feel like that big fish in the little pond.
Yeah.
And then you get dumped back into reality of being the little fish in the big pond again.
Yep.
And then it's even like larger scaled when you actually get out in the real world.
Yeah,
where
because you're just left
like
alone.
You're like a minnow in like, in like the Pacific Ocean or something. Yeah, like it just you just kind of filter through life of like broadening your horizon really.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of it takes some time to really navigate that.
Yeah, there's a learning curve to everything.
Yeah.
Especially
And
growing
we were
up.
super fortunate because we grew up with each other and it was right still, like there are people who grow up with each other and they realize like, okay, I'm my person now and I'm going to go this way and you're your person, you're going to go that way. Like
that's always a fear, right? Like that's always a fear going into any friendship, relationship, whatever.
Yeah, and that's happened with friends. Like we've watched friends come and go like constantly. But constantly. We never
It's good that
we never had that, which is good.
I'm saying it's good because again, it's nothing is scarier than being in some form of relationship for years and figuring out that you're both going the opposite way. Even though you still love them, you're just like, I can't.
Or like learning about each other's scary stuff and like
and then being like, I don't want to deal with this.
But I think like we both have baggage that we brought into the relationship, but like,
everyone
we
has
both
baggage.
deal with it,
and
then we try not to bring it onto the other person, and we try to talk about it. So it's like, it's a really big like a relationship. Like I said before, it's not an end. It's not an like end all be all. It's a process, and if you're gonna get into the process, you're committing to every part of the process. Yeah. In the hopes of like getting to the end result of like being really just old being together,
happy.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is like I think the end all be all of anything is being happy.
Yeah, like you have to live through the other crappy stuff to have the moments of happy,
right? And
have it be worth it.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Can we call it?
Yeah, we can call it. Good job,
I was like,
babe.
has Brittany had enough? Because she got real like nervous in the middle of that.
I feel better now. I'm really sweaty, but I feel better now.
She's sweating. Okay. All right, you're good? You guys good?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Dan. Hopefully this isn't another lost episode. Can you imagine?
It's not.
No, it's recording.
Okay.
Don't worry.
I literally just got really nervous because I haven't been worrying about having to do anything this entire time.
I've been looking. I've been monitoring all of these things.
And then I realized, I was like, oh my God, none of this is saved on my computer because we're not on Zoom, so it's fine.
It's on my computer.
God, I just didn't attack it.
Yeah, don't worry, I got it.
All right, well.
But I will say, if this becomes another lost episode, maybe Dan should just have his own podcast.
Yeah, really. And we'll just
call it on his podcast.
Something else.
Yeah.
The spin-off of the Be More, the Be Less.
The Be Less podcast featuring Dan.
That's great. Wonderful.
Great.
Oh,
okay.
Man.
All right.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. And thank you to my fiance. You're going to be my hubby in a year. How do you feel about that?
I like the title.
Okay.
I'm also here. Thanks to me too for sitting through
this.
Thanks
for Maria. Well, I was gonna get to you. Oh yeah, thank you for Maria. Hey, we weren't that like mushy.
No.
But yeah, thank you, Dan. Thanks, Maria.
Yeah, thank you both. Of course. Yeah.
And we will talk to you guys on the next episode because who knows what that's gonna be about.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.